Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm going to be predicting the Pradabsri versus Shigeoka fight. If you are new around here though and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Like video if you do need like video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Pradabsri is 40-1 with 24 KOs. Of course, apologies if I'm pronouncing any of these names wrong today. Shigeoka is 7-0 with 5 KOs. This fight is for the WBC World Minimum Weight title. Pradabsri's last fight was a win via TKO in round 8 versus Tanaka, and Shigeoka's last fight was a win via KO in round 7 versus Mendes. Pradabsri is 32 and Shigeoka is 26. Pradabsri's loss came via majority decision versus Xiong in 2017. So just speak a bit more about what I said. Pradabsri, of course, last fight, win avenging the maybe not a lot. Well, it wasn't a loss, but the more closer fight versus Tanaka in the first fight, and did it in impressive fashion. I thought he'd do that. I thought he'd be able to, like I said, not avenge it, but be able to stamp his authority and be able to showcase that he is the better fighter. And he did that, and he did that very well. And I mean, Shigeoka's also coming off a great win as well versus Mendes. So it's a fight which they've both got momentum behind them. They've both got maybe not I don't know what the following's like, but they've both got a big name behind them now in the division, and so this fight makes sense for it to be happening. And of course, Shigeoka's the interim champion and Pradabsri's the main champion, so it's good to see that this is happening. And of course, there's a bit of an age gap. Shigeoka's the one that's coming up and the one who's getting the backing from the promotion, but Pradabsri is a champion, and he's been a convincing champion for many years now, and so it's going to be difficult for anybody to be able to dethrone him. Also on this card is Valladares versus Shigeoka 2 for the IBF World Minimum Weight title, in which I think Shigeoka will win via unanimous decision. It's so nice to see this fight actually happening again. I didn't know if it ever would have actually happened, but it's nice to see that it's happening again, and I do think Shigeoka is the by far better fighter. I think Valladares knows how to make it hard and knows how, like I said, make it difficult and to make it a tough fight. But I think Shigeoka has that more technical ability. I think he's better than his brother who's fighting here for a world title, but he's just got to prove himself, and being able to get this title and be able to fight these people like Valladares and be able to get victories here is what he has to do to become one of the best in the division. And it's a very stacked division, to be fair, if you think about it at the moment, and so it'll be interesting to see where all of these fighters go along. And I think it's going to be some sort of record or something in the history books if both brothers win world titles on the same night, on the same card, in the same division. I don't know if, don't back me on that, but I think I heard something about that, so that would be quite cool as well, I suppose. Going back to the main fight, Pradabsri, as a fighter, he's got much more experience. He makes adjustments well in the fight. He's a well-rounded fighter with a good jab, a high work rate, solid fundamentals. He's tough. He'll catch you off guard. He has underestimated power, and power which can kind of creep up on you, and that's why I say he catches you off guard. He knows how to win a war. He's more than happy to go into a war and go into a tear up, but he knows how to win them, and he's proven that he knows how to win them in the past. And he's always going to respond with his punches as well, and like I said, similar to that kind of war mentality. But like I said, it's that sneaky power that's going to be something which catches most fighters off guard. It's the shots that you don't expect which is what hurts you the most, and that's always the case with Pradabsri. And when you've got such a high work rate and such a high output and you're throwing at a high amount, if you are suddenly just going from just hitting light pat shots to then suddenly switching it up and suddenly just landing with big power, then like I said, it's going to catch you off guard. And so it'll be interesting to see if he can exploit his power and impose his power onto Shigeoka, because I don't know if he's ever really experienced that kind of level of power. And so it would be interesting to see. Obviously, he doesn't stop all of his fighters, all of his opponents, and so you never know, that might not be the case. And at times, especially in the first fight against Tanaka, he was quite hesitant, he was quite reluctant to throw, and that's what Tanaka did to him, and Tanaka's a much lesser opponent, and so if Shigeoka can make him reluctant, make him hesitant, then you never know. and he's been having injuries himself. He's not been on the best of health runs as of recent. It seems like he's getting back into it more now, but the reason why he rematched Tanaka was because he was having injuries, and it was kind of to get him back into it. But you can still see that they're there, and so and of course he takes punishment as well in his own right. If you're going to have a tear up, if you're going to have a war, then you're going to inevitably take punishment, and so that's what happens sometimes. Shigeoka as a fighter though, he's got momentum on his side. I would say he has more momentum than Pradabsri. Of course, Pradabsri has that big record, but I mean, like I said, the Tanaka first fight was a close fight, one which was closer than he probably would have wanted. I feel like that did slow his momentum down a bit, and Shigeoka, he's obviously had fights which have been to the decision as of recent, and I feel like to an extent that's not slowed his momentum though. I think that's just gained him more experience, and so he's still got that momentum. And the fact he is coming off a KO, I know Pradabsri is as well, but I know that Shigeoka's coming off one, and he's not yet to have a really close fight. And so I would say he has the more momentum, and of course he has the backing of the promotion as well, and so that is most likely going to play a bit of a factor as well. He's quite physical. He's willing to let his hands go. He's sharp. He's explosive. He's quick. He's powerful as well. He will walk through you, and he's a well-conditioned athlete. He's got that gas tank. He's got that work rate as well, which is something which is going to make this fight a great fight. I'm sure it's going to be a back and forth fight. I'm sure neither fighter are going to be willing to take too much punishment without responding, or at least trying to respond with their own kind of punishment to inflict onto the other guy. And so it's going to make it a great fight. It's going to be interesting to see if Shigeoka can impose any kind of physicality and maybe not give too much respect for to Pradabsri, which I don't think he will, to be fair. I think he's going to come in, and I think it'd be interesting to see if he comes in a bit too eager to prove, and possibly just overlook Pradabsri and just be like, oh, this is just another opponent. I've stopped everybody, or beaten everybody so far, and everything's going so well. I can just do the same here. It's not the mindset which I think he should have, but I also can't think he shouldn't respect him too much. I think you have to find that middle ground, and because otherwise you could get caught early if you're coming in too eager, or you could just drag the fight out and get caught late if you come in and you respect him too much. I mean, you saw Charlo respect Canelo way too much, and then he caught him and he was wearing him down, and then he eventually managed to get knocked down in round 7 as well. And so it's something which it's tough to do, but when you're having a step up like this, it's very tough to do, but it's going to be interesting to see if he can do it. He's, in my opinion, not got quite as much technical ability as what Pradabsri has. He may not be world level yet. It's going to be interesting to see if he is. But of course, that's what this fight's for, to answer them questions. He can sometimes get into a firefight a bit too much, and I feel like maybe not quite used to managing them as well as Pradabsri is yet. He can recklessly counter at times as well, and that can leave him exposed to then be countered from the counter if he isn't landing them reckless counters, and it's something you don't really want to be seeing, because I think that just come off him just being a bit too eager as well. And so that'll be interesting to see if that is going to play a factor or not. And he's a bit raw as well, like you can see he's developing with every fight, but is he developed enough to be at this level where he is fighting and should be fighting for a world title? Pradabsri is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Pradabsri will win via TKO in round 10. I think it's going to be a great back and forth fight. I think there could be multiple knockdowns to either fighters, to be completely honest. I think it's going to be a great fight. Like I said, it probably will end up being a war, but I feel like Pradabsri knows how to win a war better and can show his experience and can show his more focused mindset, I suppose, to an extent. Even if it would be a war, I think Pradabsri could make it a bit more of a technical type war and control it like that, and let Shigeoka become eager and then catch him from there, and obviously still have a high output himself. I think it's going to be a very good fight, but I think Pradabsri will win via TKO in round 10. Then where would he go on to? Of course, Shigeoka vs Valadares, a fight which I spoke about on this card, is another big fight as well for the IBF World Middleweight title. Collazo is another world champion in this division, or Soto is one of the other challengers and one of the higher rated challengers in WBC rankings as well. And so all great fights there. I think Collazo would be an amazing fight. I think it'd be a very, very tough fight for Pradabsri, but I think it'd be an amazing fight. And I think the Shigeoka one, it would be interesting to see how he deals with Valadares. to then see if I think he's quite ready to face Pradabsri yet. But I do, like I said, I do think he is the more technical one out of the Shigeoka brothers. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you did, leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and thanks for watching.